Hi, welcome to this month's live Q&A. You're welcome on board. I'm glad that you have made yourself available. I can see the numbers increase. It's painful that I have to remind some of you to attend. You all get the alert. Thankfully, you're all subscribed to the channel, so you know that this is about to happen. We still haven't worked out, put off the fan. We still haven't worked out whether it is wise to, let me put off the fan again. Okay. So we still haven't worked out whether we should move this to another day so that we'll get maximum impact. But it's what it is. Saturday is still a good day, and we we feel it's the right day, I think, and I'm hoping that you would agree with me. Okay, so we have a few things to cover while I look at the comments to see if there are any questions. I'm hoping that we would be able to tackle a lot today. Let's see. I'm just looking at who to give a shout out to. Say hello if you're on the other side of the pond so that I can give a shout out to you. It's always good to acknowledge those who make the time. I'm a big, I frown at people who attend or arrive at meetings late. I have serious issues with that, mainly because I feel it's disrespectful because you know the time ahead of the schedule and all that. But I understand that people who have circumstances beyond their control that just pop up at the same time. But I feel that if our society gives credit or a good shout out to those who get to meetings early, then I feel that it will be encouraged. Who doesn't like being called out? I certainly do. So if you arrived early, and I know you have, okay, see, we've got our first. I love it when things like this happen. We've got our first visitor who has been bold enough to tell us. Yeah, Basi, welcome. Needless to say, you are a super fan. I'm also your fan. And so thank you for your support over the years, and you continue to do so. And I know you're busy. So for you to be able to make time, it means, like me, you find investing in our children a huge and big deal. And I applaud you and all those connected to you for your consistency and your desire to do good by them. So yes, you're glad to be here. I'm glad to be able to host this for us this month. Okay, it's a far cry from where we were last month, because last month we were asking a question whether we should shut down this thing because you guys are too busy. It's been a huge turnaround. I got a wake-up call, many got wake-up calls, and we're back. And there is a need for what we're doing, and so we're here to stay. So help us, God. And yeah. So again, I welcome you to the Family Cyber Clinic's monthly live Q&A. We have a focus. Like you saw in the jingle, we're going to be covering some trending scams. We'll cover some iPhone privacy and security hacks or tips. And then we'll touch on a few kids safety, concerns and issues, time permitting. And of course, in all that mix, we'll have time for your questions. As you can see on the screen, there's a ticker. I double dare you to join me in this broadcast. I always say that. There's no better way to present your question than to jump in live with me. See, if I show you your slot, that slot is just waiting for you where it says guest. And when you come in, that's exactly where you'll show up. And we'll chat. It's like picking up the phone and speaking to me rather than text. But that's what I want. That will make this whole experience a lot more engaging. I find many are shy. You would know that underneath all this, there's a timid boy. But I believe the passion to invest in our children masks that out. That doesn't become a concern because there's a need. There's a need, and the busyness or the hectic lives that we live will have us relegate this to the sidelines. God forbid that's not going to happen under my watch or under the channel's watch. We'll make hay while the sun is shining. Okay, so we'll go straight into the iPhone privacy and security tips and tricks. It is quite useful. Now I keep doing this, but do you apologize or do you just get an Android phone so that you can accommodate those who are not using iPhones? I don't know. See, I use the iPhone, and because I use the iPhone, I can only and confidently give advice on what I'm used to. I don't want to mislead you. And so the best way to attack this, in my view, is to do the iPhone. And if you do, and you're connected to the channel and you have an Android phone, then please, as part of the engagement that I seek, just put it in the comments, and that will give me the ammunition to go in that direction so that I have that balanced view. There's no point investing the time to get the Android ecosystem tips and tricks and all that done, and then there's nobody interested. So if you tell me you're interested, you do that by engaging. And by the way, if you are just joining, please like this content, because it gets YouTube to pass this content on to those who need it. If you just sit down there and you don't like the content, really, it's like attending a meeting that required you to fill out your name. You attend the meeting and you don't do that. Okay, so fill out your name by your likes. So if you're just joining, please like the content so that that can go in the direction it ought to. Okay, so welcome. I'll stop talking and then go straight into the iPhone security and privacy tips. Okay, so like I do each time I do mini tutorials, I'll go to my iPhone and we're going to cover the first thing we're going to cover would be Face ID. Face ID, okay? So we're going to cover Face ID. And just before I do that, let me see if I can... Well, there's no one really there, so I can't really do what I want to do. If you're submitting a question, like you can see, please do so via the comments. Put a Q before your question so that I can easily search it out, okay? So I think rather than start with FaceTime, where should we go? Or Face ID. Let's do Find My Device. I think that will be a good place to go to, all right? So we're going to do Find My Device, all right? Find My Device. What's the importance of Find My Device? Many of you know that if you lose your device, that Apple has a feature that enables or allows you to find it, and that's important. These things are not cheap, so you want to be able to find your device. And to do that, you've got to enable Find My Device. So you ask me, how do you do that? You go to settings. As you can see, my busy screen. Settings is right in the middle. You click on settings and you scroll just where you have the avatar, where you have your picture. Yeah? Where you have your picture, you click on that and then you can see the green, I think it's the second lot where you have iCloud, media and purchases, and then you have Find My. The Find My device is hidden there somewhere. And you've got to turn it on. So if you say Find My iPhone, if it's off, you need to turn it on. And that's important. What that does is Apple or iCloud have a map. And on that map, the moment you say Find My Device, Apple will place your device on that map and track it. So anywhere that iPhone is, at any point in time, Apple are aware of it. They know where it is, and it can be located on the map. And so it sort of gives you some peace of mind that you would not lose your phone and then not know where it is. And many crooks and thieves are aware that if you have a Find My iPhone enabled, it becomes increasingly more difficult to, steal the phone or access the phone. All that because you find that the phone becomes unusable, because there's so many things you can do if you have this enabled. You can wipe the phone, you can block the phone, all those things are important. That's like a deterrent. So enabling Find My Phone or Find My Device is a huge security benefit. So I will advise that you look to enable that. Okay. So that's Find My Device. Another thing that I'm finding that people are doing on their iPhones is that they're setting easily guessed passcodes, and that's painful because we invest so much time on the channel to, discourage you from doing that. When you set your passcode, as you will see me show you in a few minutes, when you set your passcode, you need to move away from setting a 4-pin or a 4-digit or a 6-digit numbered passcode. I say that because the tendency is for the 4, you will do 1, 2, 3, 4, or you do 0, 0, 0, 0, 4. They're not enough characters, to give you the security that is required, and in these times anyway. So the 4-digit is really a clumsy way to go about passcodes or passwords or pins. And then you have the 6-digit. The reason why we frown at the 6 is more than likely you're going to put your date of birth or a family member's date of birth, a child's date of birth, born say in 1980. You put 010280. And those can be easily guessed. And I tell you this from experience. Okay, I'm not going to go into details what situation I was in, but I was able to crack or access an iPhone based on the person's behavior. And some of us put a lot of information on social media, on our profiles, Facebook profiles. We talk about our family members. And if you talk about a family member often enough, that means the crook can determine that that person means so much to you. And you may say, happy birthday to my favorite brother-in-law or whatever. That date could be your passcode because you talk so much about the person. So you get the drift. You see where I'm going with this. So it's important that you mix it up and get the crook or the, enemy, I say, get them guessing and get them going in a different direction. So we're going to go to the location on the phone. So again, I go to settings and let's see. So this time we're going to Face ID and passcode. Okay, so Face ID and passcode. I have a 6. I don't have to tell you, but I have a 6-digit. But it is mixed. It's not the one you think it is. Okay, so I go in there, and then if you scroll all the way down, you can see there change passcode. All right, change passcode. So you can see it there. Change passcode. If you change your passcode, as I'm about to, I'm going to just show you the options that you have. Now, to access the options I mentioned that are not just 4-digit or 6-digit, you have what's called a custom or an alphanumeric option. See, if I click on the options, you see them there. See the custom alphanumeric code, the custom numeric code, or 4-digit numeric code. Now, we are saying choose the first two and move away from that last one, the 4-digit numeric code. I chose the custom alphanumeric code. Even though it's 6, you won't know what I'm putting in. Again, I'm getting the crook to guess. God forbid they try, but you get the idea. So we're encouraging that you do the custom alphanumeric. If you can't do that, at least do the custom numeric code, which allows you more than the typical 4-digit. So let's just, for guessing sake, or at least for testing sake, I should say, if you click on the custom, it allows you to put any amount of characters. Okay? And if you're used to a 6, don't make it a date of birth. But you have an opportunity here to, not put the 4-digit PIN or passcode, which is easily guessed. Okay? So that's passcode. We're asking you to choose the custom ones, not the generic 4-digit PIN. Make it difficult for the crook to get to you. All right? So those are two. So I've mentioned the Find My Device if you're just joining, and now I've covered passcode, changing your passcodes. Now, there's another one that is quite important, and that's what you allow anyone to see when your iPhone is locked. We talk about privacy. Why should anybody see more than they should when your phone is locked? It's like closing the door. Nobody should be able to see anything that's behind the door. But when you lock your phone and you don't set, appropriate the things I'm telling you now on these settings, then you're basically opening a window after you've locked the door, which means there's still access to your sensitive and private information. So to disable that, I'm going to show you what to do. All right. So again, we go to the iPhone and we go to settings. It's still, believe it or not, under Face ID and passcode. You put your passcode, and then if you scroll down, further down, you can see this section here where it says allow access when locked. You can see that I have all those items disabled. I don't want anybody to see I don't want notifications. I don't want Siri to be able to do anything when my phone is locked. I don't want home control. I don't want my wallet to be accessible. I also don't want USB. We're going to touch on two that are the most important, which will be the USB accessories and the control center, and you see why, okay? But these have to be disabled. When your phone is unlocked, you don't want anybody, your iPhone is unlocked, you don't want anybody to be able to see what's private to you. So you've got to make sure that these are disabled. I'm sure if you go to your phone now, you have several that are enabled. And if you have control center and USB accessories, depending on your iOS version, you see why the two I'm going to focus on are important, okay? So make sure that these are disabled, all right? So let's focus so that you know what I'm talking about. Now, having this disabled, if I go to my phone and try to look at my notifications, for example, when the phone is off. So my phone is off. Well, it won't show there. Should do. Yeah, my phone is off now. And as long as if it picked up my let's see. Okay, so as long as it can't find me to use my Face ID. Now my phone is locked currently. If I click on it and try to, at the moment I'm scrolling down to see messages and it's not showing because I've disabled it. You can't see anything. On the top left, if you scroll down, you can see messages, or on the top right, when the phone is locked, if you scroll down, you can see things like let me demonstrate it. I think I'm talking too much. So I've opened my phone. If we do settings, let me enable the two things I've just mentioned now, notification center and control center. So you go back there. Please get your questions in via the comments and say hello to me. So I know you're there and so I can, give you a shout out. Okay, so at the moment, you can see what am I? I'm not allowing anything, but if I allow notification center and control center, see what happens when I go back to my screen. So I'm locking the phone now, and now the phone can't see me. Now, if I scroll down, I can see, that's a top right scroll down, I can see my Wi-Fi, I can see airplane mode, I can see my Bluetooth, I can play around with my brightness, and all that. Can play music. Now, just imagine if someone got hold of your phone. Now, I'm going to go straight to the reason why it's important that we disable Control Center. Imagine if you have Find My Device enabled. That only works if there's internet access of sorts on your phone, which would mean that your 3G, 4G, or 5G is enabled. But the first thing the crook will try to do is put the phone in airplane mode. If they're able to do that when the phone is locked, no one can find this phone. You just find the last time the phone was located on the map, which would be when this airplane mode was enabled. So the crook could travel to France, to Italy. As far as Apple are concerned, that phone is still where it was last reported when airplane mode was disabled. So if you have this, what crooks generally do is if they pick up your phone, the first thing they try to do is attempt to scroll down top right to see if they can access it. If they can and put it in airplane mode, that's your phone gone. Or that's your phone gone incognito. No one can see that phone. The last reported sighting will be that last time the phone was that phone had airplane mode disabled. So it's important that you don't allow this to happen. And the only way you do that when your phone is locked is by doing what we've said earlier. And I'll go there now to show you how to disable it. You go to settings, Face ID and passcode, enter your details, and then scroll down and make sure that these are disabled. So the same thing I told you about Control Center, if we did a left swipe down, top left swipe down, it will show us messages. And some of them are private. So when your phone is locked, the crook will also have access to messages if you don't disable this feature. So you can see how important it is, okay? I said I was going to touch on two things. Control Center, I've addressed Control Center. USB accessories is another one that you must definitely have disabled. Because if you have it enabled, the crook has access to plug in something through the USB or the lightning port. Don't know why they call it USB. But they'll be able to plug stuff in there that allows them access to very important features on your phone. And you don't want that. So do what I've advised. Make sure that you are disabling all these features. After, if you want access to them, just unlock the phone. Okay? So you have access to unlock them. And that's important. Okay? Zachary, hi. Zachary has just let me put that on the screen. Good to have you on board, son. Let's see. Zachary has asked a question. Hi, Uncle, it's Zach. Great tip. Just realize the potential dangers with having Control Center accessible on the lock screen. Sometimes the convenience is not worth it. Absolutely correct. Absolutely. You know, if you want access to your information, unlock the phone. But while it's unlocked, nobody else needs to see your private stuff or be able to do anything. And I think the the control center one is so key. So key, because the thief, believe it or not, the first thing they try to do when they steal your phone, knowing how Apple are strong and big on Find My Device, is to enable airplane mode. And once you do that, incognito. Okay, I'm glad it's of use to you, Zach, and welcome to the broadcast. Okay, so we have another thing. Let's see, what's the time? It says 12:26. Okay, I can squeeze it in. Another iPhone tip, and that's with let's see, what is it with? It's with Face ID again. That's where we've been. Okay, Face ID, that feature, that section is where most of the privacy and security things are listed, in my view anyway. Let's go back to the screen. Let's go back to iPhone. We're going to talk about face masks and Face ID. You know, some of us may not know that this feature is available. Believe me, I've worn a mask every weekday and some Sundays since March 2020. March 2020, for close to 2.5 years or more. Okay, so the fact that on the iPhone you're able to do this is fantastic. Initially, the iPhone or Apple enabled. Let me just show you. Okay, if you go to settings again and go to Face ID and masks, no, Face ID and passcode, you do that and log in as we've done. You can see what you're able to use your Face ID to do, to unlock your iPhone, to initiate iTunes, your wallet, and all that. But further down, as you can see, it says Face ID with a mask. So you can actually put your phone or your phone in front of you with a mask on, and iPhone would unlock based on this feature enabled. So if you enable Face ID with the mask, the phone will will scan key features that are like that. So we've covered it. So mostly it will be around your eyes and all that. It will take that. Sorry, I'm covering my mouth. It will take that. It will scan that. So basically, it's only using these bits to recognize you. Now that's dangerous. So straight out, enabling this feature degrades to a large extent the power of Face ID. It does. Don't let anybody fool you. It does. But for us who need it, because like I said, I wear my masks, or I wear a mask very often. I need it because I don't want to always touch stuff. Just want to, and I'm in. So it allows those key features to be scanned, and it recognizes and allows you in. I had a little fun fact that if you like, well, people say that my sister and I look alike, and just imagine that my sister wears a mask, and they say we have similar eyes. She wears a mask. The iPhone could mistake my sister for me easily because we have key similar eye features and things like that. So it has its demerits, but for convenience, if you have alternative security parameters in place, you can now use you can use your iPhone or Face ID to recognize you, to unlock your phone when you're wearing a mask. Before, you had to be wearing an Apple Watch. I don't know why they took that away, but they have. But now you have the opportunity to do that. You can even wear glasses to even further complicate things, but it will recognize you. Okay? It does degrade the security or the robustness of Face ID, but it's there. It happens. So some of you who have doubts, don't enable it. Just have the typical or generic Face ID enabled. All right? That's where I want to leave the iPhone tips and tricks around security and privacy. All right. Let's go to, I can't see any questions, so I can go straight into the second area that we said we're going to cover, and that's trending scams. I particularly have a trending scam that I feel we may update by a singular video during the week, but at least I'll put it in here, and that is around investment scams. I don't think the channel has covered investment scams that much, so I'm sort of giving you a scam alert around investment scams, and they're rife, quite so. They're trending, so it's important that we take note. Okay, so the trending scam around investment opportunities, we're going to discuss red flags. What makes you know that an investment opportunity is a scam? All right, and the first thing that jumps out is they promise low risk and high return. You know, you've heard the saying, and I think I've probably said it on this channel, if it's too good to be true, then it probably is. So you've got to keep an eye out on opportunities that promise low risk and high return. Okay, so that's important. A second red flag will be that you're contacted out of the blue. Out of the blue, you just get this, information about an opportunity that is too good to be true and that you have to do something about. There's also that red flag that we keep sharing, that urgency attached. Do it now. Do it in the next 5 hours, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, or you miss out. Keep an eye out for that flag. That's a red flag, a huge red flag, if you ask me. And some of them repeatedly try to get you to do something. So you get the first text or email, and then 30 minutes later, they're doing the same thing, just pushing you, pressing your buttons. And they know that in the climate we're in, we're desperate. We want to be able to make quick money, so we're distracted already. So because we're distracted, our guards are down. And so we the channel, are trying to get you to identify such red flags and stay well clear of those investment scams. You have less protection, many don't know this, with the cryptocurrency opportunities that exist. You have very little protection if that goes wrong. And so we're not necessarily saying don't invest in crypto. We're saying that there are scams that exist that if you lose money through crypto, you would not be able to get your money back because the protection is quite immature at the moment. It's not grown to the levels of your credit card or your debit card, all the protection around that. That's not the same protection you have with crypto. So you've got to be aware that if you're investing in crypto and you get scammed, really, it may well be a very bad day or bad year for you because you won't be able to get your money back. So be aware of that. And I don't know whether you've seen this. There are ads that are out there that bring in celebrities, people that you and I love and respect, to come and talk about those opportunities. The opportunity to invest in crypto, for example. You find, I can't mention names because I can't really do that, but you just have a celebrity who comes, anchors that crypto opportunity and tells you how they've made millions and they're still making millions from it. And some of us who are not strong get, persuaded just because someone legit has put their name against that opportunity. Please flee from those. All right. No friendly or wise celebrity will attach themselves to such things that are quite volatile. Okay. So they're usually, most 99.9999%, they are fake. And so ignore them. If you have them a celebrity talk to you face to face, that's a different matter. But the ones that you have on ads, fake, absolutely fake. They're all doctored, and you should stay well clear of those, okay? And the last tip on the investment scam opportunities that seem too good to be true is it's always wise to seek a second opinion. So if you find an investment opportunity, because I don't want you thinking that I'm saying don't invest at all, because there's some legit investment opportunities that are also too good to be true. But to give yourself added security, it's important to seek independent advice and counsel so that you know, because you may not have the information to make an informed decision. Someone else could. So independently consult and make sure that you're not going in the wrong direction. Okay? So that's all that I'll share on trending scams. Again, I'm still looking at the comments. I can't see anything crucial. You guys are all too knowledgeable. Why are you not asking questions? And don't ask for the sake of it because I just asked you to. Oh, I still have my drink. Please. And it's still very warm. I love flasks. Digress. Yes, so I'm still looking for questions. And you can ask questions about the topics that we've covered already. We've touched on iPhone, privacy, security, tips and tricks. That's huge. We've just finished trending scams, and we've spoken about investment scams in particular and what you should do to keep way away from those. And we've discussed red flags. So important, quite important. All right. Again, no questions. So I move straight into the last area that we're going to. For the channel, it's the most important area. Important to my heart that we can counsel our young ones. We're going to address kids' safety online. All right. If you do this well, it will translate in other areas of your young one's life. So I'm giving you advice that seems to be targeting online activity, but it transcends all over their young, sweet life. So it's important, and I want you to take note of the things that we're going to cover. So apart from the usual advice that the clinic gives, and what will you call usual? Usual would be make sure that the devices that your young one is using is patched. What do I mean by that? Make sure that the operating system fixes, bug fixes, and patches are applied. Make it your responsibility. Teach them as they grow older to do it on their own. And better still, make it automated, okay? But you must make sure you're patching your young ones' devices. Don't just limit it to the phone, the smartphone. Extend it to the laptop, the tablet, and the desktop computer. Make sure you are patching. So apart from that, and apart from the push to enable Google Safe Search, why is that so important to the channel? It's because most of our kids use their phones, their tablets, laptops, and computers to do work for school. And of course, they're searching for information. In our day, the old men and women that we are, we had to do the heavy lifting by going into the library. And if you had a limited library, you were on your own. But they are furnished with search engines. Yahoo, Google being the big guy. They have that on their systems, all their systems. They have Google and Bing for Windows. So if they are searching, you don't want situations where they put a search input and it's returning the stuff that they're requesting and rubbish or junk, illicit content, inappropriate content. And the only way that you fend them off those inappropriate content is by enabling Google Safe Search on their devices, all of them. That way, when they search, they get exactly what they have requested. Yes, it's not foolproof, but believe me, it is so close. And so enable Google Safe Search on all the devices that your young one has. Okay? Now, you may not have to log in to do that, but imagine how much of an investment it is that you just pick up your young one's device, especially if they're old enough to know. You pick it up and just enable them whilst they're logged on. Just enable it. They're not going to frown because they may not even know you've enabled it. Another feature that you should enable on the young one's devices, all devices, I have to repeat, phone, tablet, laptop, and desktop computer, is YouTube restricted mode. We've talked about it, and we have urged you to do these things repeatedly because back to inappropriate content being exposed to our young ones. This keeps all the nasties away, okay? So we want that to happen, and we want it to happen on all the devices. So you can, again, like you did for Google Safe Search, log on to your young one's system and enable it. Unfortunately, there's some areas you try to visit on YouTube that will tell you that YouTube restricted mode is enabled. I frown at that because on a kid's laptop, tablet, desktop computer, or phone, they needn't know. Just give them the content, because curiosity is a dangerous thing. Oh, I'm searching for this thing, but YouTube restricted mode is saying I can get more if it's disabled. Why would you even think about doing that? So I'm frowning at that. And of course, we've put in our complaints, hoping that they will do something about it. But once enabled, it will keep the nasties and inappropriate content away from their view to a very, very high and large extent. Okay. So apart from the ones I've just shared, I am going somewhere. Under 10s really should not be using the adult YouTube. Why would they need to? Okay. They should use YouTube Kids. We've pushed that should happen because YouTube Kids is just designed to keep them in an ecosystem that is kind of censored, and all the nasties are not being revealed, and it's just a safer environment. That way you don't even have to enable YouTube restricted mode. So give them appropriate apps so that they fit in. And we've discussed a lot of other apps that are age appropriate on the forum. It's somewhere hidden there. I'll put a link in the comments or in the description even at some point. Okay. Screen is flickering. I can only put it down to, it may be you. Let me put this on screen. Sorry, I got distracted. I have a comment. Is it me? Screen is flickering. It's actually not flickering. Believe it or not, it's a style. Let me see. Katie, welcome, by the way. Good to have you on board. Usual. Another super fan. I'm your fan too, because I know you're so invested in the kids. So he's saying that my screen is flickering. No one else was bold to tell me that. So let me see if I can change something and see if that takes away the flickering. No, it's a lighting effect that's giving me some halo. Let me disable it and see if that makes things different. Okay, I'll leave it like that. Katie, let me know if the flickering you mentioned has gone away. If it has, it was my lighting effect, which you have just made me disable. But for your sake, I'm happy to keep it disabled. Okay, let me know in the comments if that's the case. Yeah, glad to know people who are close to me on the other side of the fence. It really, really encourages me. Thank you. So, Katie, let me know if it stopped flickering, or at least changing view behind me. All right. So we've covered, yeah. So I've listed all those things, and I'm hoping that you took notes. I spoke about Google Safe Search, YouTube restricted mode, patching your system. And the patching is not just OS. You've got to do the virus updates, anything that just keeps them safe. Those are the things I want you and I to push. Oh, okay. Katie says it stopped. And that gives me so much joy. Let me show you that he says it stopped with a thumbs up. Thanks, bro. Okay. So make sure that your kid system is patched. We've covered that. And that extends into virus scan, antivirus, anti-malware. Make sure all those things are up to date on all the devices. We mentioned Google Safe Search. We mentioned YouTube restricted mode. Needless to say, we've also spoken about social media platforms. Make sure that their profiles are hardened and not in public view. I just added that because I thought about that. Those are some things that are important and that we must do, and make sure that they're using appropriate apps. Like instead of using the public YouTube app, make sure that they're using YouTube Kids. Yes, there is something like YouTube Kids. Still serves content, videos and all that, but it's appropriately designed for kids. All right, so make sure you're doing that. And then I said, apart from all those things that we generally talk about, they're going back to school. The kids are going back to school after this long weekend. Next week, Monday, not this one, next week, Monday, they're returning. Some of them maybe Tuesday. Now, what are we as a channel asking them to do after so long a break? I envy them anytime I see, anytime summer comes and I know that they're going to be off for 6 weeks. It's so long. And I think some of them get tired after a while. They just want to go back to school. They've had enough of the parents, you and I. And so, what do we do now that they have to go back to school? Apart from uniforms that we're buying, prepping them up for the new term or new school year, technically, what are we doing? Some of us are buying new laptops, buying new computers, new tablets, and all that. All that is fine. Apply all the things that we've mentioned earlier, but how do you prepare them for the transition from engaging, lazing about, spending so much time looking at tablets, looking at TV? How do you wean them off the gadgetry, the TV, the screen time? How do you wean them off so that they adjust and it's not a shock to their system that come Monday in 2 weeks, they have to, start dropping some of those gadgets? So we're advising that there should be a weaning, a transitioning. Start reducing. And of course, this is not going to apply to all kids. When I say kids, I'm usually saying our young ones, but it's got to be appropriately applied. An 18-year-old is still your kid, but they're savvy. Even a 13-year-old is still your kid, but they're also savvy. So don't think that things that will apply to a 7-year-old, 8-year-old will apply to those who are a lot older. The good news is that you know them better than anybody else. So just make sure that you're appropriating the advice accordingly. But you've got to wean them off. So the under 10s, for example, can't be on their gadgets, especially at this time, 24 hours. Wean them off it. Son, you've got to reduce how much time you spend on that tablet or your PS4, whatever it is. Start reducing it. Start reducing it. Even if it means you have to come up with a timetable of sorts or some sort of agreement. Okay, if you do this, then you can do this and this. Just make sure that you are intentional about that plan to reduce how much screen time they are exposed to. that will help them as they transition back to the school life. And it won't be a shock to their system, like I've mentioned. It's so important that you grab it and not make them have a complex. I used to be able to do this 6 weeks ago. Now I can't. And then there's some discussions you don't want to have. So get involved. And we've always advised that you're involved with them anyway. So if you're involved with them, the moment you start hinting, school is coming, we've got to start changing the leisure or the allowances that you've had for the last 6 weeks. Make sure you're explaining why you're doing it, reducing the screen time so that you can transition into the normal business as usual when term begins. They will understand, and I pray that they will comply. All right. So those are the things on the kids' safety that I prepared for. It's the monthly Q&A before they go back to school. Needless to say, the channel's ears are on ground, trying to pick up things that are trending, scams, and any other thing like tips and tricks that will help you and I engage with our young ones better. I suspect that our focus for the next season as they begin will still be around social media, and there's nothing stopping us from focusing on the good things that they can do on the internet and make sure that we are promoting those things. Some of you may want to know whether your child desiring to start a computer career, IT career, or want to do social media stuff, being a content creator at the age that they are. In fact, I had a friend, an acquaintance, whose daughter, if I've shared this, I'm old. If I've shared this before, I'm old, but it just seems appropriate to share it again. His daughter was very creative, and she was always recording herself speaking into a camera, and he had problems with that. And I saw a trend. I saw someone who was creative. I saw a different picture. I saw somebody who was creative, who was not afraid to see herself on camera, who was confident, and who was developing and improving her communication skills. So I saw the positive. He saw the negative. So we were able to talk and create some balance where keep an eye on it, but promote it small scale and see how it goes. I haven't followed up, but I left the advice with him. Ultimately, I'm saying that if you keep an eye and you notice that your young one is savvy, and they're showing skills, encourage them. But whilst they're doing it, make sure you're keeping them safe. So it's win-win. And that's important, really important to me. And I hope it's important to you. Okay, you spent an hour with me. You deserve a round of applause. Give a golf clap. No, seriously, I've had fun. Numbers are always a thing, but I've had enough fun online with those who were attending. And my desire is that we get to a place where we're making this a priority. Okay? We're making our kids a priority. And why wouldn't we? Okay? We're focusing on other areas and making sure that they're gaining, and progressing. Why won't we want to do the same, in this area? And it's an area that is quite, is in our face, and we kind of run away from the opportunities to impart. So if you get to the channel, again, if you are here with me, make sure before you leave, because at the moment I can't see that you've acknowledged that you attended the live Q&A. So as far as I'm the teacher, the prefect, you're absent from this class. To prove that you came, please, all you do is put a like. A like. The thumbs up. Like. like this content so that Google, Google, they own the two, will know how to pass this content, to know how we've engaged. Because some of you have been chatting, but you've not liked the content, unless you have liked it and it's not showing up on my console or dashboard. But like the content. Look for where it says like it. Now, if you're not part of the community, you also know what to do, okay? And what do? We do this. We never want you to come to our community and leave empty-handed. What do I mean by that? We want you to be a member of this community. And we know that by becoming a member, you get information, crucial information back in return. And we want you to be empowered to raise your kids in the internet age. And you do that by associating yourself. Subscribe. There is a red button. Subscribe to the channel. You become a part of this community and you get informed when new content drops. And as you know, every week we upload a video, and like we're doing today, the last Saturday of each month, we have a live Q&A where you can bring your questions via comments or actually jumping on to the broadcast with me, okay? We're passionate about what you're passionate about, and that's your kids' welfare. More so their welfare on the internet. We can't take our eyes off the ball. All right? I've been your host, Lawrence Edem. Until when we start the week again and go into our weekly schedule, God bless. Goodbye.